Welcome to Open Comments with myself, Ash.
Me, Oliver.
And me, Irene.
We are joined by Andras Szakal, VP CTO, The Open Group, Deborah Schoonover, Director Certification, The Open Group, and Tony Black, Healthcare Life Sciences Technical Leader, Kyndryl.
So please, could you tell all of our listeners individually just a bit about each of you and what you do and what your role is when it comes to open professions?
Hey, this is Andras. Thanks, guys, for having us on. Well, I am the Vice President of Technology within the Open Group, and I also have executive responsibility of working with folks like Deborah, who help leads our certification, and I help shepherd the development of the standards side. And I've been, participating in the development of open professions since its very start. Originally, I was the first chair, and I was the profession leader within IBM and have at least a couple of certifications that I can recall. So I think it's a fantastic program, and I'm happy to be here to talk about it.
I'm Deborah Schoonover with the Open Group. I'm Director of Certification. I have responsibility for the kind of implementation and operation of the Open Professions program. And so that we'll build the program based on the requirements that are defined by the membership. And then we run the team that operates the program on a day-to-day basis.
My name is Tony Black, and I'm a member of the Open Group Governing Board and also the chair of the Open Professions Work Group. The Open Professions Board actually oversees the disciplines for namely technical specialists, architects, data scientists, and I happen to be the global leader for the technical specialist profession at Kyndryl, which is my day job, where I am involved in healthcare, privacy, and digital transformation.
Thank you all for being here. So can you give us an overview of what the Open Profession Certification encompasses?
Tony, since you're the chair, why don't you go ahead and take that first?
The Open Professions Board itself oversees technical specialists, architects, data scientists, discipline. Each one of those have their own certification paths that we go through, and their own levels of attainment. So it's really a career focused type of certification where you would build upon gradually as you get involved and get engaged in various types of projects, various types of initiatives, and obtain various experiences as you navigate through different types of roles and responsibilities. And that's just one aspect from it. I'll pass it over to Deborah now if she wants to actually talk about it some more.
I would say the Open Professions program is a skills and experience-based program. So we're not looking at somebody's kind of specific knowledge in one area, but we're looking at what they've done in their career over time and having peer review evaluation of their experiences, their work experiences in the various areas.
Yeah, that's really good, guys. Tony did forget that we have open trusted technology practitioners as a group also in the program. That we're obviously supply chain security is a new and growing field. So we're looking for folks that are interested in getting certified there. I think Deborah said it really well that, there's a difference between having skills and taking knowledge-based training courses. Those are really important to teach you these, skills that you need. But what this program does, and what an employer often asks their prospective employees is, tell us about your experience. And that's also the question that employers ask as you move through your career into different job levels and levels of responsibility. So this program kind of grew out of a group of members and companies who had similar programs, but were looking for an opportunity to standardize and have an open kind of level playing field, recognizing what it actually means from the conformance criteria point of view. Become certified at the different levels within open professions. So this helps answer the question, not only what skills or classes have you taken or university degrees you have, but where are you actually been successful in applying that knowledge to real life successful projects.
And on that note, can you provide any examples of success stories from the application of the Open Professions program?
Tony, I mean, you guys are a walking success story, right?
But with the Open Professions program, I mean, when you talk about the various successes, it's all about building. It's all about building upon one another, right? You start off. It's a combination of obtaining the skills, obtaining the knowledge, gaining the experiences, and then cultivating that with various credentials and certifications. So you do build upon it. And yes, I am a walking success story, as Andras said. I've actually obtained level 3 thought leadership in both technical specialist as well as architect profession. So it's a combination of the skills, the initiatives, the experiences, but more so understanding the different types of certifications and credentials that I want to actually collect and build upon, so I could actually deliver a message and have a certain persona, what I want to illustrate to prospective employers and other colleagues about how I want to be represented, what are my skills and capabilities, and what types of accomplishments and achievements I've received. So that's really how I've built upon it, and that's how I encourage others to do the same.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I actually joined my previous company, IBM, which is an ACP, an accredited organization. And I became level 1 and level 2 certified. That helped me, kind of grow and become eventually a highly banded architect leader. And then ultimately enabled me to become a distinguished engineer and vice president. So for me, it was really, all about gaining the cachet and recognizing in your own way, because you're forced to actually write this down and make the case, right? What it is you actually did and why you did it. And that makes you think in the future about I better have a good reason for being involved in this project, and what is the outcome going to be, and is it going to be successful, and is it impactful to the organization and business. But I think a really great example of this will be Deborah talking about the growth, especially of the direct certification. Deborah, I mean, you've seen this thing grow from, all the way at the ground level.
Yes, we have seen this grow a lot. In fact, we launched what we call our milestone-based certification program in 2020. And since then, we have seen the number of applications coming in each year double. So it's, growing at a very good pace. And going back to the bit about kind of success stories, I have talked to 2 different organizations recently who value the fact that this is a global, internationally recognized certification. And so they are interested in having people get certified so that it's not just saying, well, yes, they have experience or they're recognized by people within their country or, within a limited space, but that the certification they get is portable and recognize that they're meeting the same criteria that people across the globe are meeting. And so that I have seen, multiple organizations find value in that.
When you say portable, you mean like if I get a certification, for example, over at Kyndryl with Tony, I can take it with me where after I leave or go somewhere else, right?
Absolutely. People have, you talked about our ACP model. So that is where a large organization will run a certification program internally to certify their people. And we accredit the organization to make sure that their program meets the same requirements as our Open Professions direct certifications. And so we will recognize and award an equivalent certification to people in those organizations. Now that certification is specific to the individual. It's about their work experiences and their career. And so if they, it's useful within the organization that they're in, sometimes for promotions and development opportunities there, but it is also useful as they transfer to other organizations within the industry. That certification goes with them and has the same, value and is recognized in their career development as they move their career through different organizations.
Deborah, I heard you mention that it's a global certification. So do you know off the top of your head how many countries are currently within or have that certification? Excuse me.
So we have over 7,500 active certifications right now. And by active, I mean these are people who are getting certified and maintaining their certification through recertification. So they're current. We have those in 76 countries. And so there is testament to the fact that this really is a globally internationally recognized certification.
Wow, 76 countries.
Yeah, I've been on boards for, people in faraway places, even in emerging countries in Africa. So it's certainly a way by which people can show their credentials and grow their career. And look, it just grows the community itself, because now part of the certification conformance criteria is actually your responsibility to grow the community itself in which you're part of.
It sounds like it was such having this open professions certification is such a valuable method of obtaining certification is whilst you're working or showcasing what you're doing. So what was the trigger for the creation of this? Because if you compare it to other certifications of the Open Group, they don't have the same format. Was there a trigger point that led to the creation of this?
So originally when we came together, it was a discussion in the architecture forum in the, late, like around 1998. This program's been around for a while, so it's been growing and maturing. But, around 2000, 2001, we had some of the larger companies and service organizations begin to believe that it was good to, create a standard that mirrored some of the expectations that they had within their company. They called it different things. They called it credentialing. They called it certification. They called it professional accreditation, all sorts of different things. But when we came together and we signed the NDAs to work together, kind of peeled back the onion. It was very similar across many of these organizations, and we took all those similarities and we turned it into a formal program for both, large organizations to be accredited and for individuals to be certified.
Well, you mentioned that it's different than the other certifications in the Open Group. It's also different than other certifications that you're going to find out and you're going to find in technology and in various industries as well, right? Because all certifications are not created equal. There are a sea of certifications out there.
There certainly is a sea of those certifications out there, but not all of them are evaluating experience, right?
So when in someone's career would you recommend them to start looking at the certifications?
Early. Right, Deborah? Early is better.
We have kind of certifications at 3 different levels. So we recognize people throughout their career. So once someone starts working and starts getting some, real work experience as an architect, a technical specialist, a data science, or a trusted technology practitioner, they then start gaining enough experience to fill out, a milestone application that describes that particular, work project that they're on. So like I mentioned, this milestone-based approach, this is something that was introduced in 2020 as a way to break the overall application process down into small consumable chunks. And so we used to have this kind of monolithic application. It was like filling out this massive 50-page resume that people did. We've broken that down to make it easier for people to get started and to do a little bit. So there's people earn, say, 4 to 5 milestone applications, depending on the level of certification they're going for. And then they have their final, peer review interviews for certification. But it allows them to get feedback as they go through the process. So they'll submit a professional communication application, which just talks about different ways that they are delivering communications, both verbally and written, within their organization on the projects that they're already working on. And the criteria for someone at our lower levels is that they may be doing that with support and mentoring from more senior people. As they go through to level 2, the focus is on leadership, and then you've got executive level, more strategic thinking at level 3. And so the requirements kind of, increase as you go out, but certainly as people start out, there is an ability to get certified early on in your career with a couple of years experience. And then within the data science area, we have recently introduced an associate data science credential that is targeted at people who may have taken a kind of capstone course in college and had some real work experience, or are early in switching into their data science career and have just started working on their first project. They should then have enough experience to go for this credential that will kind of be the first step in their career journey. And then when they get a little more experience, they'd move on to their level 1 certification and so on.
So as not to overload someone right at the start.
Yeah.
Well, we're not trying to overload them with how the program functions, but we do have a really good idea of what it means to progress through your career, defined by the conformance criteria or the expected experience at each level. So that's really what Deborah and everybody is saying, is that that's how you actually have a career path. This is a really great way. Some companies call this technical ladder, and they don't have any real criteria behind that or open visible criteria. It's about whose buddy what manager you get along with best. I mean, the companies that embraced this program, of which there are many, realize that kind of, especially in this day and age, there has to be a level playing field for how you evaluate people, and how you evaluate technical people from a business point of view is how successful are they in contributing to the business through their capabilities. And that's exactly what Open Professions is designed to do.
How long does I know since it's a milestone journey, I'm assuming that it's up to the specific person on how long it takes them to get certified. So how long or on average, would you say it takes for someone to reach that first certification?
To reach the first certification, we say that they should have kind of 2 to 3 years experience in their career to, practicing in their profession in order to get certified. But they can start as soon as they've, worked on one project. We have something called an experience profile that will look at, a given work project and go into detail on what you've done in that. So they can start to earn these milestone badges prior to being ready to go for certification. In fact, we've seen a lot of people now who started out with a couple of applications and are now kind of getting to the end stage and going through certification and achieving their certification after having started a while ago in earning their bits. But there's quite a few people that are now coming through to fruition on that.
And I would add, once they get started in their career, then you start to see different paths, right? You start to see some folks, the aggressive ones, they really take off, right? Because as soon as those initiatives, those projects come your way, you jump on those, you get the badges, you get the certs, and you keep running. Others, may sit back and wait on the projects to come to them, or wait to be asked to be put on a certain initiatives and certain teams. So after the first couple of years, after like maybe year 4, they start to spread out a little bit.
Tony, I guess, one of the things you're saying is that it kind of sets the pace in some of these companies that have adopted, open professions of what's expected, and how you actually move forward.
Now, before we wrap up, we'd like to ask, where can everyone find more information about open professions and beyond, and what resources would you recommend to them if they want to, learn more about this program?
I mean, we have information on our website, obviously, for under certifications that describes the program and the, requirements for getting certified. One of the, key documents, Andras has referred to the conformance criteria. We have for each profession a document that lays out the conformance requirements for each certification that help people understand what is expected in terms of skills and experience for each of the certifications and at each level, and kind of the depths of skill and the specific requirements. So that's a piece of it.
And we have some really good videos on our YouTube channel of some folks who have, including you, Tony, having kind of presented at several of the conferences on this subject. So go check those out.
Yes, there are some good testimonials on there, spewing some good information, talking about everyone giving their perspective, their history, their experience of how they went about it. And you'll notice that everyone takes a different path, what's meaningful, what's relevant, and what works for them, right? And that's really the great thing about laying out a plan and going along this journey. You can set the pace and you can take control of it and you guide yourself. So, but it's good getting others' perspectives so you can understand and see some examples of how others went about it and did it. And there's more than one way to be successful, and that's really what the end goal here is. It's not. We're not creating. It's not a factory and assembly line where we're just chopping it up and creating a lot of mini me's. It's not it. It's an opportunity here to grow, to strengthen your acumen, to make yourself professionally, technically attractive, and to give yourself the opportunity to grow. And you can do it in many different ways, and you can customize it in a way that's meaningful and useful to make yourself successul.
And evaluated by your peers. Somebody has to do that assessment, right? Peer review is one of the best ways of making that happen. So that's one of the program's hallmarks.
Yeah, and we're working on some new offerings, some new ways to assist and mentor and have office hours and just really assist and guide and advise and consult candidates as they go through this journey, because it is a journey, right? We're talking about career-focused, career-based certifications. It's not and when we talk, and when Deborah mentioned that number of people who had those active certifications, you got to remember those folks have multiple certs. They have ours, but they have other certifications as well. We're talking about some pretty aggressive, highly motivated individuals out here, right? Some really strong learners who really are taking their career and taking their growth very seriously, right? And we're part of that.
Thank you. We'd like to thank you all for coming on the Open Comments podcast, and we hope our listeners enjoyed this episode as much as we did in learning about open professions and beyond. And we'd also like to thank all our listeners who've been tuning into Open Comments. Stay safe and see you soon. Thank you.